Promises are like babies. They're easy to make, but very difficult to deliver. So what promises do we make as business owners? What promises have you made as a business owner? One of the most essential promises that we make are to the people that we work with, our business partners. If you've got a business partner, usually we want some kind of legal agreements in place just to be very clear about our relationship with that person and what promises we're actually making to that person. Usually the core document that we use is shareholders agreement. So think about your shareholders agreement. Do you know the content of that agreement? And more importantly, like the babies, do we know how to deliver on the content of that agreement? Probably a lot of you out there and a lot of everybody everywhere are going to say no to the first question, do we know the agreement? And probably no to the second question, how are we actually going to deliver on the promises made in that agreement? Or how are we going to implement the clauses of that agreement should those clauses arise? So what we would really like to say is, yes, I know exactly what's in the agreement and I know exactly how to implement everything in that agreement. So when we think about the agreements that we have with our partners and when we think of the relationships that we have with our partners, business partners are probably some of the most important relationships that we have and probably some of the most trusted relationships that we have. And it's very, very essential for us to hold on to that trust and keep that trust. Understanding your agreements and knowing how you're going to deliver on them really is part and parcel to being able to establish, maintain, and deliver on that trust. So I'm going to quickly write this out because that's the way I like to do it. Shareholders agreement. I think it's useful to have a visual of some of these things. So this is what most people's shareholders agreement looks like, even if they have one. Generally, we have the agreement, which is the circle on the outside, and then the substance, which is nothing on the inside. So they're not really substantiated. We don't really know how we're going to deliver on those. So what we want instead, again, is something more substantial. We want the agreement, yeah, that's really important, but we want the substance inside that agreement also. How are we going to deliver on this promise that we've made? So really, we want the whole thing. We want our cake and eat it too. We want to be able to make the agreement. That's the fun part. And then we want to be able to make sure that we're able to deliver on it, which I would argue is the fun part too. It takes a little extra effort, but it's quite rewarding to know that everybody in a partnership is covered, no matter what happens. Thanks a lot, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.